So this movie is almost 2 hours long. So a lot of the action doesn't happen till I think it was about the 40-50 minute mark. Um, it's been a few days since I've watched it. This movie's really good. I do prefer the three main characters. I don't think a lot of the other characters offer that much in this movie, unfortunately. Michael B. Jordan as Stack and Smoke is amazing. Unfortunately, the actor that plays Sammy, for some reason, is not listed in the cast, so I don't know the actor who plays him. I think her name is Haley Steinfeld, is also in this movie, who played Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series. I've read one of her comic books, just one of them once. I thought it was pretty decent. That was a long time ago. It was before the Hawkeye show even came out. So it's been a long time since I've read one of her books. But she's here. She doesn't offer that much. A lot of the actors in this movie don't offer that much, in my opinion. I really like Stack and Smoke. They're just so entertaining. Um, this movie, it's really great. I can't believe a lot of people hate it. I think it's because the majority of the cast is black, and there's always gonna be fucking people complaining if a cast is so-called woke. So let's talk about the movie. It's about two gangsters that have a lot of money, and they decide to open up a barn after buying it. They buy it from a Klansman. Um, they know he's in the Klan. They call him out on that. He claims the Klan is dead now. It's the 1930s, and it is definitely not dead. So yeah, they buy the place from him. They get their cousin Sammy involved. He really loves to sing. He's a fan of the blues. His dad, very early on in the movie, claims it's devil's music and he shouldn't be singing it, and it's gonna attract the wrong kind of attention. Later, that proves to be true. I thought it was just like a coincidence that the vampires came to attack them. But they say it themselves that Sammy's music is the reason they're there, and they just want Sammy. And if they give them Sammy, then they'll be fine, you know. Um, I love the vampires in this movie. I do think they give off a pretty talented performance, especially the main male one. They're very unsettling, you know, just outside singing, or when they first show up to the barn and try and convince them to let them in. Because, this is the 1930s. Black people had it bad back then. Black people still have it bad nowadays. And to trust just these three white people and let them in could be a very bad problem. I mean, 30 years later in the 60s, black people were being hosed in the street by firefighters during the civil rights movement, during peaceful protest. So, it would not be a good idea to have these white people, no matter what their intentions might be, in the barn, because they could definitely cause a ruckus and bad things could happen. So they don't let them in. Eventually, they do decide to let the one white girl, Haley Steinfeld, whose name is Mary in the movie, go out and talk to them. And she talked to them. They start being pretty creepy. They start repeating what the main guy says. Like, he'll talk and then they'll say something that he said. It just gives off a really weird vibe. You already know these people are vampires by this point because we had seen the main guy run to this racist couple's house. And they both got turned into vampires by him. He was running away from Native Americans that wanted to kill him. Because there are briefly Native Americans in this movie. They don't have a big role, unfortunately. But, yeah, they were going to kill a vampire, but he was able to get to safety in two racist people's house. And then he ate them and turned them. Which I believe were probably the people that he came to the barn with. I don't really remember. They probably were because it was a couple, and when he comes to the barn, he's with a man and a woman. Um, so yeah, really cool shot right here. She decides to go back to the barn, and suddenly he's floating up in the air. We don't see her get bit. We don't see what happens, but we know what happens. So when she gets back to the barn and immediately wants to have sex with, it was either Smoke or Stack. They have similar names. They're pretty easy to distinguish in the actual movie, but reviewing this movie a few days later, I forget which one it was. I think it was Smoke. I think Smoke is the one she's with, because they're twins, Um, there's a pretty funny line in the beginning of the movie too, where he's sarcastic to the Klansman, where the Klansman asks him if they're twins, and he goes, "Nah, we cousins." I really like that line. Um, so obviously, when they are having sex in the back, something bad's gonna happen. Sammy walks in on them, but decides not to interrupt, which could have saved Smoke's life, because it didn't look like she was doing anything just yet. At least biting wise. So coming back with Stack, though, not even that long later, it's clear that she's bit him. She's attacked him. They don't know that they're vampires yet. They called them something else. Some H word. I forget what it was. I had to look it up. It's like a vengeful spirit. That's what they originally thought it was. So they shoot. Stack actually shoots the shit out of her, and she kind of laughs it off and leaves. I don't know why she leaves, because now that she's left, she can't come back in. She just had the chance to be able to infect a lot of them, because they don't even know that she's a vampire yet. And as we see later, when they shoot Cornbread in the head, he survives it. So they don't know that she's a vampire yet. She could have easily turned like that entire fucking place, unless she gets like accidentally impaled or something. She just gets shot a bunch, and even though she's unfazed, she leaves. I think that's a little weird. Of course, the movie's got to continue, so it makes sense that way. But logically, not really. Cornbread tries to come back, but he insists on being invited in. So Annie steps up and is like, "Hey, you're not coming in. You've been coming in and out all day. Why do you need an invite now?" He's like, "Shit, I thought we were friends, Stack. Where's my money?" So when Stack gives him money, you get one of the fucking coolest scenes ever, where Stack wants to give this man his money. He feels like he owes him. But he is clearly suspicious of Cornbread. So, when he gives him the money, he's got his hand ready on his gun, and Cornbread tries to bite his arm, and Stack shoots him at the same time before he can get him. Fucking awesome. I've never seen anything cooler. That is just so cool, because it's not even a kill. It's just great awareness. It's so fucking smart to have the gun ready and shoot him if he tries something. Like, yeah, there's stuff like that in movies, but the way they do it is just really good. I think it's really good. When they go back in, they end up seeing a guy passed out with blood, presumed to be blood. It turns out not to be, all around him. So, unfortunately, they drag him out and leave him out there. I feel so bad for this guy, even though I don't even think he was, had a big role, because I don't even remember his name. I was trying to remember his name when watching the movie. I sure as hell don't remember it now, but I felt really bad for him. And we get to a scene that's like The Thing, where they're all going to eat some garlic together to see if they're vampires or not, because they've realized that what they're dealing with by now is vampires. So, yeah, They eat all the garlic, none of them gets hurt. So they go and check and see what that is on the ground, and it's just like alcohol. And he's awake now, just in time, very coincidentally. Not a criticism, I just find it funny that, they figure out that it's alcohol and then immediately he's awake. So he's pounding on the door, begging to be let in, saying he did pay his tab. Please let him in. And they do eventually open the door, but he gets pounced on by Cornbread. And Cornbread bites him. So that's the end of him. God, I wish that wouldn't have happened to him. Poor guy. I don't remember, but there's this Asian couple in the movie. Her husband earlier, when shit started to hit the fan, she was like, we don't owe them anything. We need to get out of here. And he went to go fetch the car. But he never came back. So now he's clearly turned. Because we get this, like, casual of him saying, like, when Cornbread's eating the guy, he's like, oh, Cornbread? He's just hungry. Very, very funny reaction. So obviously the wife isn't going to go out there now, but she really wants to. She wants to kill all of them for what they did to her husband, and the fact that one of them ends up threatening their daughter. He's like, hey, I'm the lead vampire. I got all his memories now. My question is, it's not like a big criticism of the movie, but if someone else bites someone, does he also get the memories? Like, I get he's like the lead vampire, so he's in control of these vampires because of him being like pure or whatever, and being the one to bite some of them. But what if, like when Mary bit Stack, shouldn't he not get that information unless they tell him or something? So yeah, she ends up unfortunately giving them the invite in because her child's been threatened, her husband's been turned, and she basically gives them the invite in by saying something along the line of like, come on in, you motherfuckers. And that leads into a big brawl. She's able to kill a vampire but also burns alive at the same time. Pretty cool kill. Stack and Smoke get a little fight. Of course, Stack wins. And off screen, apparently they make a deal. He doesn't kill him. He makes a deal with him because he doesn't want to kill his brother. Sammy is able to kill the main vampire and the day is saved. Then we get an end credit scene where Smoke and Mary visit Sammy all these years later. And they're like, hey, we could still turn you. And he's like, no. I think that's really all I want to talk about with that scene. Like, I don't think there's that much to offer with that. Last other thing, I did skip over it, but this does happen before. There's, the next morning, we had learned earlier from the main vampire that this was just like a happy coincidence that Klansmen were actually going to come tomorrow and kill Stack and Smoke, that they didn't want them to have the barn. So Stack, now alone, hides up somewhere with a sniper and starts killing all the Klansmen. Eventually he does get shot once in like the side of his stomach, and I guess that's enough to kill him because he starts seeing a dead Annie and their child, who was like a miscarriage or something that they had mentioned earlier in the movie. So yeah, he's with Annie now. He died from that one bullet. I think that was kind of lame, but it was cool to see him kill a bunch of Klansmen. And he has one of my favorite kills in the movie too, because he kills one of the Klansmen while he's about to die. Like, he was about to die. He was accepting his fate. He was kind of out of it, wanting to go see Annie. And then the Klansman decides to speak up And he's like, hey, you could spare me. I got money. And then he just shoots the ever-living shit out of him. Just fucking awesome kill. Great fucking movie. I was very pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting much, unfortunately. Not because of the criticism that people were giving this movie, the bullshit criticism, but just because it was like in the top 5 movies on HBO. And since it was a horror movie and I didn't like Death of the Unicorn, and it was also in the top 5. But I love this movie. I didn't like Death of the Unicorn, but I fucking love this movie.